Hello everyone, welcome back to Pokemon Pinball. I guess, because this is a cool game, you can actually continue from where you last left off. So apparently we're just going to continue from last week when we did the blue table. So that's cool. So I said this week I was going to do some Q&A along with playing this game. So that's, I guess, what I'm going to do. I have a few questions lined up, and I apparently am still bad at the game. Alright, so I have a few of these lined up. Let's see, the first one is from Flop22. Flop22, what a name. And he asks, he's wondering, how did you and Nick meet? Well, let me tell you, ladies and gentlemen, the story is long and arduous, although not really. How did I meet Nick? Well, I essentially first discovered that he was a person during Battle for Charity. The original Battle for Charity, so I can't remember when that was. 2009? Or 10, I can't honestly remember, it was a while ago. But the original Battle for Charity was like, Xerxes was the main guy, I think, or To Be the Man did stuff. You know, people who don't really do much anymore, but, you know, they still kind of exist. So, they were basically doing the Battle for Charity. I didn't actually have a webcam at that time, right? Like, I didn't have a webcam, so I wasn't able to actually participate as a streamer. So instead, I was basically on lots of Skype calls all the time, and all that kind of good thing. So like people like Steve Magnitude, there were loads of people like To Be the Man and stuff, and I was just in calls with those guys a lot of the time. And at one point during the stream, there was like the IRC chat, and I got a private message from a guy. And he said, hey, do you want a roulette battle? I was like, alright, we'll have a roulette battle. So, of course, you can probably tell this guy turns out to be Nick. And he, you know, he just wanted a roulette game with me. So I was like, alright, we'll play. And so we played. And we had this roulette game in which I believe I hacked him pretty badly. And basically, all I remember from that match is there was a Drapion involved, right? There was a Drapion. It's on his channel somewhere still, I think. Though I don't quite remember if he got rid of it or what, but all I remember, there was a Drapion involved, and I hacked him, and that was that. And then in the comments section of that video, when he put it up, I said something along the lines of, hey, this was a good game, I enjoyed, and stuff, and that kind of thing, you know, just being generally nice. And he was like, yeah, it was fun, man, we should play again sometime soon. Little did we know that 3 years on, however long, we would have had like 7 million matches against each other, and it wouldn't really be anything to write home about. But there you go, we had lots of matches after. Oh god, what am I doing? Oh, yes, there we go. Alright, we'll start again, we'll just go back to the blue table. So that's basically the story of how I met Nick. Then I kind of like, I didn't really get to talking to him until there was like Skype calls going on around that time with Steve. Honestly, like, most of the people I know and who I'm friends with in the community are a result of Magnitude, Steve. Because he was the first guy I actually properly talked to. I talked to him on Ventrilo. If you don't know what Ventrilo is, it was a like a voice client. Like it was like Skype. It's basically like Skype. I believe even the Yogscast still use Ventrilo because it has like a chat room feature, so you can drop in and out of different chats very easily. So actually, I'm pretty sure the Yogscast still use Ventrilo as the form of recording audio, or at least when they record some of their collaborative videos with lots of people involved in them, they use Ventrilo. But we use Ventrilo because apparently Steve told me that Skype was lagging, and I was like, alright, well, I'll download this application, whatever, and you can tell me how the hell it works. And so he did, and then I talked to him, I talked to Ferris, JC Fern, Ryan, of course, being Conker, Darkstelion. These guys, this like group of 4 guys that I talk to on a regular basis. And then we kind of migrated over to Skype, like that summer or something. And Steve was just like, he just talked to everyone. Like, he knew all the people. So he would just like add me to all these calls, and like, I would talk to different people there. Like, D-Mac was there at some point, and, you know, Frosty, Pixie, and all these people, To Be the Man. Some from Zat, some from other places, but then there was Nick and Fizz. And funnily enough, Fizz I also met for the first time. Well, I didn't really meet him at Battle for Charity, but the first time I became aware of the presence of either Nick or Fizz was during Battle for Charity, because I was doing this thing where I said, I'm thinking of a number, like during the stream. I'm thinking of a number, and the first person to tell me what that number that I'm thinking of is wins a battle with me. And I told the people to PM it to my YouTube. So I was like, okay, PM it to my YouTube, and I will choose the person who gets closest. And so Fizzy Stardust PMs me, and of course he's the one who gets the closest. I'm like, okay, I owe you a battle, Fizzy Stardust guy. I have no idea who you are, but you sound kind of cool. I honestly wasn't sure if he was a guy or not, because with a name like Fizzy Stardust, you kind of wonder, is this a guy or a girl? Who knows? But he truly is the manliest of men, so that is not something to be doubted, of course. Anyway, I've taken a long time of this fucking story, but essentially I met Nick and Fizz, or I became aware of them during the original Battle for Charity. And then after that, we just talked on Skype a lot, and I guess the reason why I talked to Nick a lot more, in the beginning anyway, was because both of us, or I had just started my LP channel, so I guess it was 2010, because that's when I started doing LP stuff on the NBZ channel, which, if you're not aware, yes, I have a separate channel for LPs, on which I'm posting The Legend of Zelda Twilight Princess. I'll probably have, I'm pretty sure that's in the description every video I put up anyway, so if you're interested in Twilight Princess, and you like LPs that I do, that's like fucking 70 parts long so far, so you can delve into those. There's also like a full Mario Galaxy LP over there. Am I really starting this again? I honestly can't concentrate on talking and doing this at the same time. But I'll continue to do it, I don't care. It's fun. And jeez, look at that, that's so quickly gone. So, yes, I do have an LP channel. And Nick was one of the few people who watched my LP channel as well as commented on my LP channel. It was him and Groovy Green Hat. They were the two guys who commented the most. And they would always have a pun war. They would try and come up with the best pun from one of the episodes, because I was LPing Lost Winds, the second Lost Winds game for WiiWare. And always every episode there would be comments between those two guys, which, you know, that was always fun. I always enjoyed reading those. And so I just kind of talked more to Nick on Skype and, you know, and all that good stuff, and I guess he started an LP channel around the same time, so we're both kind of doing the similar type thing. That's how it happened, and then, well, it turns out that Ferris and Nick and I just generally, you know, came together and created the fusion that we possess today, whatever you want to call it. There you go. That's how it works. And yeah, since then, Nick hasn't had an internet for like fucking 1.5 years, so that's been annoying, I guess. And yeah, that's what happens. But anyway, I'm pretty sure that's a long enough 8-minute answer into the origins. So we can move on now, I guess. The next question, which comes from the Purple Peppy, regarding Fire Emblem. And the Purple Peppy, he asks, what is your favourite Fire Emblem game? What Fire Emblem game would you recommend to anyone new to the series? Well, considering, ladies and gentlemen, if you didn't know, Fire Emblem Awakening, the 3DS game, is not actually out in Europe yet. If you know, I live in the UK, which just so happens to be a part of Europe. So I have not played Fire Emblem Awakening. Had I played Fire Emblem Awakening, my answer would probably, or may be different, dependent, because I don't know what it's like yet. I, of course, haven't had the chance to play it. I can only go on what other people have said, and going on what other people have said, I could, you know, form my own pseudo-judgment, though it would be not particularly well made, because I, of course, haven't played it. But leaving that aside, I would probably recommend Sacred Stones to a newer player. Sacred Stones is easily the most forgiving of the Fire Emblem GBA games, at least. And I would recommend you play the GBA games as opposed to the DS game or the GameCube or Wii games. I haven't actually played Path of Radiance or Radiant Dawn, but if you're coming into the series for the first time, I would say start with the GBA games. They are the cream of the crop, and most people, you know, revere those as the best in the series. So I'd say Sacred Stones, which is the third GBA game, the second one to be released in Western territories. The first GBA game was only released in Japan, and it is brutal as hell. I'm actually playing through it right now on a translated ROM, because that's the only way you can play it, honestly. Fan translation of Fire Emblem 6, and I did a bit of a stream about that, stream with me playing some Fire Emblem 6 a while ago. And that went pretty well, I guess. But yeah, I would say Sacred Stones, just because you have things like the Tower of Valny, which is like kind of like a pseudo grinding spot, where you can essentially, if your characters aren't high enough levels, you can grind them up there with pretty easy monsters, and decent experience will be given to you, and you don't have to rely on just the chapters to get everything going. You can do support conversations a lot easier, all that good stuff. It just more convenient, I guess. And the storage system is better. It's overall just a more friendly game to newcomers. So I would say Sacred Stones. As for my personal favorite, it's a toss-up really between Sacred Stones and Fire Emblem 7. The first game I played was Fire Emblem 7, though I never actually owned Fire Emblem 7. The first time I played Fire Emblem was basically when I was 13 or 12? Probably around 12-ish. So there was this German exchange student who came to my school, my prep school, where I was at the time. And he had a Game Boy Advance, and he had a lot of games, and one of those games was the original Fire Emblem, which he showed to me, and told me you can use one of these free save files and start your own game. And so I started my own game, and instantly I was like, holy shit, this game is awesome. I want to play more of it. I want to own it. But I didn't really have the ability to go and buy my own games at that time. You know, parents kind of controlled everything, so I was like, well, unless I find some way of getting this, it's not going to happen. And so eventually, got to the point where Fire Emblem Sacred Stones came out. I was like, hey, I enjoyed what I played of Fire Emblem 7, so, you know, I'll try this game out. And so I actually got the Sacred Stones, I believe, for Christmas, because I asked for it, and there's history. I played through that like 3 times, and it is still one of my favorites. But, you know, I don't know, it's very difficult to choose between those two. I would say one of those two, use your discretion, and just play both of them, really. Yeah, and I would advise either of them, though I would advise play Sacred Stones. Actually, you know what? I would probably say if you want a good introduction, then play Fire Emblem 7 first, because the first like 10 chapters of that game is all Lynn's story, and Lynn's story is basically just teaching you how to play a Fire Emblem game. So I guess that is also recommended. Though, of course, as I said preceding this entire talk about Fire Emblem, I have not played Awakening, and I have heard that Awakening is the best for newcomers, not only because it has the casual mode for people who are afraid of losing units, but also because it's the most streamlined, it has the most content, it's the most visually appealing, many reasons why people would say that Awakening is the best. But of course, I cannot pass judgment on it until I have played it, which is not something that I have done. And I lose the ball again. So there you go. That is that. Here we go. Let's just finish off this game. So I guess that's good enough talk about Fire Emblem. What have we got up next to talk about? Well, let's see. The first question that I have after that is, why did you name your... Okay, I need to say who this is by. This question is from... Oh god, I'm trying to concentrate on the game while reading something on the other side of the screen. JZIamBC1. I don't understand some people's YouTube usernames, but hey, this question is about YouTube usernames, mine specifically, so we'll talk about that and why it's so fucked up. Why did you name yourself Emperor ZNB? I'm pretty sure I've answered this before, but not everyone will have been subscribed to me since then, / have watched those videos, those Q&A ones I did like a couple of years ago, where I explained a lot of this stuff. Why is my channel called Emperor ZNB? Well, I went to YouTube and I found Xerxes videos, right? Xerxes and TSP, ZMT, they were the main reason I made a YouTube account. because I wanted to subscribe to them so that I knew when they uploaded and all that good stuff. So I had to make an account. So my my go-to account, the account name that I try to get everywhere, but of course I never get because it's too short, is NBZ. It's only 3 characters long. Most places require you to have a username that is much longer. So we end up in the situation where I try to call myself NBZ and I can't because someone's already taken that name. Because, well, it's YouTube, and, well, even back in 2007 when I made my account, there were a lot of people using it. So you got to expect that 3-letter acronyms, such as NBZ kind of is, are going to be taken up pretty quickly. So it was taken. So I was like, okay, what's the next best thing? Well, of course, the next best thing is Lord NBZ, a name that I used on RuneScape, a name that I used many times in the past on the internet. So I was like, okay, I'll try Lord NBZ. Nope. That wasn't available either. So I was like, well, fuck. What do I do now? Both of my names are gone. So like, screw it. I'm gonna go one higher than Lord. I'm gonna go up the pedestal. I'm gonna be a fucking emperor. I'm gonna be Emperor NBZ. And see who fucks with me then. No one will fuck with an emperor, I'll tell you that. So I type in Emperor NBZ, and well, wouldn't you know it, ladies and gentlemen, that was taken as well. So I was in a pickle. I was in the pickle jar, if you will. Ready to be plucked and put in a sandwich. Something. Yeah, I wasn't happy. I wasn't best pleased, to say the least. And turns out that was taken. So I'm like, well, I'm not spending any more of my time on the stupid naming convention crap, because all I want to do is subscribe to people. That's all I want to do. It's like, does it really matter what my YouTube name is? No, at that time, it didn't matter. So like, fuck it. I'm just going to call myself Emperor and just mix up the letters. Because, why not? I just didn't care. I just didn't care at that point. I was so worn out from trying to fucking think of a name, and all my names getting rejected, that I was like, no, I'm done with this stupid website. All I want is an account. Give me an account, god damn it. Please. And so they did give me an account, and it was Emperor's Nub. Because I am so effing clever that that's what I named it. I can't evolve the Zubat! No! Fucking Christ. I guess that's... Oh, no, not game over yet. Sure will happen soon. So, yeah. That's why my name is Emperor's Nub. Because they didn't have my other names, and because I just wanted an account without having to faff around. Unfortunately, not to be the case. Because, of course... In April of 2008, I decided I'm going to use the account that I have to make videos. Little did I know that this account would become extremely important to me and would be strangely that's a bad use of the word. Very popular is like millions of subscribers. I would say moderately, if moderately is even the way to put it in YouTube terms. That this channel would have some viewership of some kind. I didn't even really understand back then. But apparently it does, and, well, I'm lumbered with this stupid name, which I do not like and do not care for. But that's what I have. If I had access to NBZ, I would change my channel name in a heartbeat. Get me wrong, you do not. Because, fucking hell. I am not well pleased with my channel name, but hey, that's how it goes sometimes. It's just how it goes. And I'm stuck with it. I'm lumbered. So anyway, I'm thinking that I've talked for about 20 minutes here, and I've answered many questions. Not really, I've answered about 3, but at least the questions that I answered, I gave in-depth answers to. So, I'm gonna pause the game, save it, and I guess next time we will pick up from where we left off with a few more questions. If you would like me to answer your questions in the next Pokemon Pinball Friday, do leave them down below, and I will get to as many as possible. Thank you very much for watching, and I guess I will see you next time. Goodbye, everyone.